guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a little while, but we're not gonna talk about that, okay? I've been busy. I just got back from school, and so I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. But I decided to document this portrait because it was the last thing I did before I left. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this little like time lapse I created while I talk a little bit about the details of this drawing and also the concept. Okay, starting with materials, I used a mixture of a lot of different things, so I'm just gonna list off what I used. First, I used some graphite pencils. I got them just off of Amazon, just like a regular pack. And then I used a regular eraser and a kneaded eraser. The kneaded eraser kind of helps with getting like the nooks and crannies. I then also used some charcoal. I used some bamboo charcoal and compressed charcoal, and I'll talk a little bit about the difference later on. And the piece of paper was actually provided from the art school. It's just like pressed paper. It's like a very large piece. I don't know exactly how big it is, but pretty big. Okay, enough about the boring stuff. Let's get into the concept. So this drawing was actually called the symbolic portrait, and it's supposed to represent kind of like a time capsule of who you are in the moment. So at first, actually, I was going to draw a self-portrait of me as a toddler to kind of represent my childhood, but after having my individual assessment with my professor, we both ultimately decided that doing a portrait of me now was a better representation of who I am now. So in the beginning parts of the video, the first couple of phases was me getting some reference photos of me, and I took some pictures and took some videos, and I actually chose a photo of me like laughing at something. It wasn't me posing or anything, but I thought it was a good representation of like my smile in the purest form, I guess. I've always been insecure about my smile and like my teeth, so I kind of wanted to show that in the drawing. Even though it's an insecurity, it's still me, and I wanted to show that. And then the baby picture, I really wanted to draw myself as a toddler, like I said earlier in the video, but I decided not to do that. But I still wanted to include a picture of me when I was younger. I like to think that everything I do now and today is like for my younger self, so I still wanted to include her at the bottom, you know. So that is actually a picture of me holding a picture that I really like when I was younger. You'll also notice that there are 20 balloons in the top left corner, and that was actually kind of like a final decision. We're supposed to add elements to the drawing, and I wanted to add something that represented my 20th birthday. It was actually perfect though, because this drawing was due on my birthday, so when I did like peer critique, I was able to share with everyone what the drawing meant to me, and then also mention that it was my birthday and all of the elements kind of like tied together. Now, if you don't know, here's a little bit of a backstory to like my college experience. I switched my major this year to publication design, which allowed me to do a lot more projects and like hands-on stuff, and I hadn't done portraits in a really long time, so this class was actually really difficult. But I wanted to do something for the final that represented like my skills and what I could do, and kind of dusting the cobwebs off of that hobby. As you can see, I went ahead and started with the faces first. I feel like that was the hardest thing to tackle. It's so easy to like mess up someone's face because you're drawing a specific person and it's supposed to look like someone, so I wanted to start with those to make sure I got them correct. And I'm low-key glad I did, because I had no idea how long these balloons were gonna take me, but you guys, they literally took me like 4 days straight of just drawing. Every single opportunity I had, I took all my materials out and I started drawing. Any place I was, it didn't matter if I was eating, studying, talking with friends, I always had this drawing in front of me. I think since the balloons are a specific material that's very reflective, it was super hard to get all of like the little details, all of the little highlights and shadows, but overall I think I did a really good job with it. Like I said, this drawing was supposed to represent who I am now and where I'm going, and that's why the balloons are there in the first place. I've heard a lot of things about turning 20 and being in your 20s, and it's kind of scary, so I wanted to draw something that was like kind of uplifting and joyful, something I could look back on. I've learned so many valuable lessons in my teens and just being in college and having the experiences that I've had, and I've been taught some like pretty hard lessons just like in my personal life, but I feel like what always helps me get through those moments are my hobbies. So whether it's like drawing, crocheting, reading, this drawing was also a really good way for me to like unwind after a long day of school and socializing. I was just able to put my headphones in with some calm classical music and just get into the details and the nitty-gritty of all of the shading. I think my favorite part of this drawing, you'll kind of see it with like the final shots or like the close-up, is I tried to do kind of like smooth shading, but then I started getting this texture going on with like my pencils, and I decided to leave it because I thought it was pretty cool. We're now on day 8, and I was kind of internally freaking out at this point because these balloons, like I said, took me forever, and I only had a couple of days to complete this drawing, and I really wanted it to look good, so I didn't want to rush through like all of the details. But guys, when I tell you, you can kind of see in this time lapse how like slow I'm taking everything, because I wanted everything to be like precise and crisp crisp. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now and let you guys enjoy a little bit of the time lapse, and then I'll come back when I start doing the hair and we're using the charcoal. Okay, I'm back. I know y'all missed me. You didn't have to say it, but like I already know. So this was the very last day that I could work on this drawing because it was due like the next morning, 8 a.m. So I had no choice but to like actually lock in and finish it. So in a second, you're gonna see me use the bamboo charcoal, and this one's a little bit softer, so it's kind of lighter. I used it to lay out like some of the shading of my hair, not super dark, but just an idea of where I want to put things, and then I go in with a tissue to kind of blur it out, and that's pretty much it. That's my process of this drawing. I think it came out really, really good. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me rant for I don't know however many minutes. I will see you guys in my next video.